Easy then for the Punjab Kings. 54-run win that not only gives them 2 points that they desperately needed, but also boosts their net run rate in what could become a serious fight for one or two playoff spots as we enter the last few days of the league stage of the IPL. They've downed the Royal Challengers Bangalore on the night of the Brabant. They've done the double over Faf du Plessis' side, and they did it with plenty to spare. We will look back at a day that you'd feel thrilled for your three overseas stars to come to the party. Bairstow and Livingston with bat, and then Rabada with ball. On Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 timeout powered by IQ 95G. Aakash, Chopra and Vettori, for some curious reason, thought RCB would chase this. They've fallen well short. They will give me their reasons now as to why they didn't show more faith in the Punjab Kings. There are many reasons, actually. But in fairness, Dan, is that a bowling performance that even you are surprised of? Because we did think this is their weakness, and yet they have managed to execute a comfortable win.
Well, I think it was the performance we're expecting from RCB with their loaded bowling lineup, but it was handed over to the Kings tonight, and I think the way that Mayank actually managed his bowlers was well. The commentators criticised Harpreet Brar coming on at the start, but I thought that was a easy matchup against Kohli and Faf, something that worked with Suchith, and then from there he knew he had to get through those overs of Rishi Darwin. And Rishi Darwin repaid him by those big wickets in the power play and then through the middle. And the big guys in Arshdeep Singh and Kagisa Rabada were perfect tonight. They were absolutely exceptional, and that's what we talked about before. They needed big performances from those two in particular to carry the rest of the bowlers, but the other bowlers did their job as well.
Akash, does this strike you as an impressive bowling display or a poor batting effort by RCB?
A bit of both, actually. So, what Dan is saying, if we were to actually explain it further, the back 10 of this bowling, or rather this innings, you won't find Harpreet Brar or Rishi Dhawan operating in the back 10. So, your weaker bowlers were all done and dusted by the halfway mark. Of course, there were wickets, and that really helped. But it is primarily a three-men bowling unit, which is Punjab Kings, so handled very well by Mayank Agarwal, the captain. But now let's spare a thought, or rather delve a little deeper into RCB's batting. Can you actually continue to win and chase down totals or set good totals without Faf, Kohli, and Maxwell firing in all cylinders? Young guns had carried this team for way too long, to be very honest. There will be a night where the big boys have to come to the party. If they don't, then no matter what Rajat Patidar, Mahipal Lomrod, Dinesh Karthik, they put together, it's not going to be enough. And this was that night. Somebody had to really put their hand up and say, okay, fine, now this is my game. I am taking it deep, and then somebody else might just finish it off. But the two openers is the heart and soul of this batting lineup, right? You've got Virat, you've got Captain Faf, and then Glenn Maxwell. I think while Glenn Maxwell was there, the hope was still alive. But that's the way Maxwell goes, right? So one too many maybe in the end. But there was life in that game till Maxwell was around.
Yeah, I think it's a good point that the two of you start off with, because now these 2 points could haunt RCB, and will it come down to an analysis of their big boys not delivering when you needed them to? If you either look at Virat Kohli, that's a conversation in itself. But between Glenn Maxwell, Faf du Plessis, do you think they've missed more than they've hit?
Potentially, I think. But this is the time of the season where every game haunts you. You think back to the early part and you could find victories quite comfortably. I don't think you can lump it on the batting and the big boys, because, as Aakash rightly says, chasing 209 is incredibly difficult, and everything has to go in your favour. So I think it's more a reflection on the bowling unit and how they let them get away. But the bowling unit has kept them in this tournament so far. So it has to be one of those games that you move on quickly from. Understand that the next game is vitally important to your chance of top four, but I don't think you'd dig too deep into this performance, because it's a side of your team that's been so good so far that let you down tonight, and I don't expect that to repeat.
Would the decision at the toss be revisited at this point to bowl first? I think Aakash has got something to add. Aakash, please.
No, I just wanted to add that when you lose, you must make sure that you lose only the 2 points. If you end up losing more than the 2 points, then these games hurt you and haunt you a lot more. Because net run rate, you don't see them, you don't realize the gravity or the enormity of the situation when you lose or you get bowled out for 68 and allow the opposition to just chase that down in 8 overs. So those things do not matter at that much at that point in time. And RCB, more than once, what Dan just rightly mentioned, you just quickly get over these defeats and then move on. So it has happened about 4 times already. So that
Yeah.
basically means that those losses were so huge that you don't delve too deep and you don't dwell beyond a point and you move on. But that moving on means that you have plenty of yards to cover, and this is where they find themselves. They can now they can't go to 18. They can only go to 16 if they
16,
win
yes.
and beat Gujarat Titans. But Gujarat Titans, they have to beat Gujarat Titans, and God bless the hope of actually getting your net run rate up against that bowling unit. So it is going to be a bit of a dogfight in the end, but yes, they have themselves to blame because RCB
Yeah.
over the years, when they lose very big, and it hurts afterwards.
Okay, I'm going to look at a couple of points before we wrap this up. Let's talk about the decision of the toss and revisit that. Would it have, I mean, hindsight's one thing, but big game, under pressure game, was it the right call by Faf to chase with more and more teams winning batting first?
I think you have to give them credit that they can assess wicket and understand what that wicket's going to do. I think they knew it was going to be a good surface. But like I said before, I think they backed that top 4 bowling attack, plus Maxwell, who's actually bowled really well for them, particularly at the start. So I think they knew they were in for chasing a big total, but I think they wanted it to be around that 180, 190 mark, when you can actually manage a chase a lot better. I think in these sorts of chases, you're almost borderline reckless in some of your batting, and that's where Paridar and likes of Lomro, probably the inexperience and going just a little bit too hard can sometimes get you in trouble. But in saying that, to your point, you expect someone like a Maxwell or a Faf to be able to get you over the line. But 209 is just too hard. So a long way to say that I don't think they should think too much about the toss. It's more about the bowling performance.
Okay, and you think
And
that's.
I agree.
Yes,
Actually,
Akash, please.
I'll just add to that for a simple reason that as much as it is about what your strengths are, you also suss the opposition, right? You're playing against Punjab Kings. Their bowling attack. You back yourself to chase it down, right? Because that is a bowling attack which will, in non likelihood, allow you to chase 15 above par. Now, if on the night you're not able to chase, so yeah, 210 is always going to be a steep climb. But it is something that you say, okay, fine, with 3.5 kind of bowling unit, no disrespect, but then you should back yourself to do that 9 out of 10 times. Of course, not 210, but 185.
Okay, fair enough. I'd like to just pick up key moments in the chase and just look at the balance between quality of bowling versus choice of shots by the batters. Kohli and Faf stand out here. Kohli seems to be thinking the world is against him right now when he gets a little glove off Rabada. Faf du Plessis, who not for the first time is a high-profile victim to Rishi Dhawan. What's happening here with those 2 wickets? You take me through them.
I mean, Kohli, continuation of being slightly unlucky. I think he looked like he had that intent that everyone had talked about, and to get a little glove down the leg side and for it to bounce up, you potentially got to move on and give credit to Rabada, who followed him, bowled a decent ball. I'm slightly fascinated with the Faf dismissal because there's a school of thought around batsmen like Faf who are so geared up for playing super fast bowling. When we think of Faf du Plessis, we think of him as a great player of fast bowling, 150 Ks, Umar Malik, never worries them at all. And sometimes those style of batsmen aren't always set up to 115, 118, and so therefore they have to be aggressive to make the pace because they're so used to have the pace work for them. So Faf obviously went hard at it, but also the situation demanded him go hard at it because it's Rishi Dhawan in the power play. All those little factors are at play, but for me it is around Faf being so set up to play fast bowling. He's so exceptional at it. Sometimes he just doesn't come across that type of bowling that often in international IPL cricket.
Yeah, I mean, Akash, there are quite a few batters you can think of who seem comfortable against pace, and suddenly this slow sort of middle range, medium pacer comes in and they don't know what to do. Take me through those 2 wickets, Faf and Kohli.
Okay, so Kohli actually started like a bullet train, to be honest, and that's what we have seen with Kohli in the last 6 months. And I'm not even talking about the IPL. Let's go back to revisit some of his international T20 innings, where I remember against, was it West Indies, where he came and he just smashed four boundaries, and then fifth ball he was out. playing a pull shot caught in the deep, something that you don't see him do very often that early in his innings. So it was that sort of an innings. We have seen him just rotating strike and taking time and getting to 30s, 40s, finding ways to score runs. And we have seen this kind of Kohli as well, where he starts at the rate of knots and then really just eventually gets out. So yes, you can call it wretched luck. You could call it just the way when you're going through a bad patch, which is an extended bad patch, you try and do everything that you can do in your powers to turn the tide, but it just does not happen. So one too many is something that you can perhaps say, because they were actually going quite good till Kohli was there. Faf, I totally agree, right? He's geared up to play pace, high pace, and all of that. But how many people would actually have Rishi Dhawan in the side? He's there. He's played what after 2016? This was his first season after 2016, where he actually played an IPL game. May have been a part of a few IPL teams, but has never got an opportunity. So if he was that tough a bowler to play for a variety of batters who actually enjoy playing against pace, and we've got quite loads of them, right, in the IPL. So why don't they get enough overs and enough games to just come and do their thing? Faf, I think once Kohli was dismissed, he had to take a bit more time perhaps and allow the second partnership to build, because if you keep losing wickets in chunks, one after the other, then in a run chase, yes, 210, you think everything, you have to go helter-skelter, but you still need to plan that chase. Maybe just find a rhythm to that chase that allows you to go deep. Otherwise, you end up losing 50 runs, like by 50 runs. And that's exactly what has happened there.
All right, sure. Just before we wrap up, let's just look back. First innings seems to have been the decisive innings here to set the game up for Punjab Kings. We spoke about Bairstow and Livingston and their impact at our halftime show, but perhaps let's just bring up Mayank Agarwal on a couple of fronts. Seems the batter who's completely out of form. Shall we give some credit to an Indian captain who has put himself down? We've seen enough players who want to continue batting in a preferred position to get form. Got it right with Livingston today. Got it right with the selection of Harpreet Brar, you could argue. Good day for Mayank, even though he's not getting the runs.
And he managed his bowlers well.
Yeah.
I think he did a really good job with that, whereas, as we talked about, they were paper thin, and then Livingston went off the field, so he didn't even have the sixth bowling option. So I think it is a really good day for Mayank Agarwal's leadership and his understanding of the situation, putting Livingston at 4 as the starting point, and then everything you've talked about from there worked for him. So a great day from that. And a captain who's been under pressure, so it's nice when decisions come off and lead to a comprehensive victory like this.
The next question now is, for a team that's not won 2 in a row, can this be the type of win that propels you? I mean, we said that about Delhi Capitals too. That last game would give them so much confidence, yet both these two teams haven't been able to stitch 2 wins together.
Who knows with Kings?
Okay, let me go to Aakash. Yeah, I guess Mayank Agarwal, credit to be given, Aakash, for sacrificing himself, and we can see the batting isn't there.
It is difficult. It is difficult to be a leader of a side when you're actually not scoring runs. You command respect. That's how you want to be the leader of the side. But when you're not scoring runs, you know that you're not doing enough. You're not contributing to the team's cause, and therefore your decision making actually gets impacted. Your instincts. You don't stop trusting your instincts as a captain as well. See, with Mayank, you'll get one thing: 100% team man. He will sacrifice his position. He will do whatever it takes for the team to actually win. Yes, Dan read it absolutely right, correctly, that his captaincy was brilliant on the field, and he just got himself into the right position as a batter as well. And this is how it is going to be. Well, can Punjab manage 2 more wins out of the remaining 2 games? God only knows. But then one thing is certain: when Punjab is playing, there is entertainment for sure. So let's wait and watch. It's going to be a fun IPL now.
Yes, it is, because this result keeps the tournament on the league stage very much alive and of significant interest. Points table will tell you that Rajasthan Royals would receive this result rather well, because they have that superior net run rate. They could get to as much as 18 if they beat both Lucknow and Chennai in their remaining games. They've had a bit of a slump of form themselves. So if they get caught in a bit of a fight, then you'd wonder for them. Otherwise, RCB have just 1 game against Gujarat. Delhi, Punjab and Sunrisers, you think theoretically, mathematically can get to 16, but they all play each other. So only one of those teams can actually get to 16 points now. KKR are pretty much out of it. They need way too much going for them if they are to make it. And they play the Sunrisers tomorrow. So let's say that there's Delhi, Punjab, Sunrisers and of course RCB, who could still get to 16. Rajasthan you think might nick it as a result of this? Let's ask Dan Vettori and Aakash Chopra who they think will be the final playoff position at the end of 60 games. It's an easy prediction. At the end of 60 games, you only have another 10 or 12 to go. Gujarat, yes. Lucknow, yes. I'm guessing Rajasthan, yes. So who's the fourth? Or do you believe Rajasthan could slip up still? Dan.
If you've got a coin, we can toss. And
Yeah,
we
sure.
choose to play the teams from there. I would think now this result secures Rajasthan a spot, even though they probably may just eke in terms of some of their last performances. But they've got 2 games to solidify it, and pretty much the draw on their side. I like Delhi. I feel like Delhi can push hard for this. So whether RCB can get to 16 and then fight it out with Delhi over net run rate.
Okay. Delhi, of course, have their remaining games against Punjab and the Mumbai Indians. So those are the remaining fixtures for Rishabh Pant's team. Aakash, what do you think? 4th spot? Delhi, Bangalore, Punjab?
Oh, wow. See, my pre-tournament prediction had Punjab in the top 4 and Delhi, and neither was RCB. So, all right, all of them are in the frame. I might as well stick to my earlier prediction and say, okay, fine, whatever. Punjab, let's see Punjab. There'll be a fantastic story if that happens.
Okay, for that they have to beat the Delhi Capitals and the Sunrisers Hyderabad, both of whom are fighting for that spot. So we'll find out. As of now, the Punjab Kings keep their campaign as well as the interest in the league stage from a neutral point of view alive. We'll see how they react as a result of this win. Big one tomorrow for the Sunrisers, not quite counting them. They need to arrest this string of losses that they've suffered after having these great 2 or 3 weeks when they stitched 5 wins together in the early parts of the IPL. Join us tomorrow for Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by IQ 9 5G. As always, the Maruti Suzuki Driving School Poll of the Day is with us. We asked who'll hit the most sixes in the Punjab-Bangalore game, and that was quite comfortably Johnny Bairstow with his 7. Liam Livingston threatened, but he played a different kind of innings today. Livingston with 4 sixes in what was a pretty measured and calculated 70 of 42. That's the Maruti Suzuki Driving School Poll of the Day. Thanks to Aakash Chopra as always, also to Daniel Vettori. More from them as the IPL goes on. Join us tomorrow as Sanjay Manjrekar and Ian Bishop will be with us for KKR against SRH just after the toss. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.